Every warrior faces two battles, one against the world and one against himself. The second is always the hardest. Arham was a soldier of forgotten wars. His name was known across villages, yet his soul was a mystery even to himself. He had faced enemies with steel in hand, survived storms of arrows, and crossed rivers of fire. His armor bore scratches of countless battles, his sword chipped with age. But none of these wounds were as heavy as the scars carried in his heart. On the battlefield, enemies feared him, but in silence, he feared himself. Every night, when the world slept, the voices came. You are not enough. You are only surviving, not living. You will fail when it matters the most. These whispers weren't from enemies. They were from within. And this was the war Arham could never escape. The kingdom was preparing for its final stand. An army twice their size was approaching, a tide of shadows bringing destruction with them. The king's soldiers sharpened their blades, polished their armor, and whispered prayers to gods they barely remembered. The air was heavy, like a storm waiting to break. The ground itself trembled with the march of distant feet. Arham stood in silence at the edge of the camp, staring at the horizon painted in shades of crimson. The setting sun looked like a dying flame, and he wondered, is this how I end too? A warrior swallowed by shadows? That night he walked alone, past the tents filled with anxious men, past the fires where soldiers laughed too loudly, trying to drown their fear. He found a quiet stream where the moonlight danced on ripples of water. He knelt, staring at his reflection in the blade of his sword. But what he saw was not the warrior people believed him to be. He saw a broken man, tired, afraid, carrying the weight of battles long gone. Memories haunted him, the faces of comrades he could not save, the promises he broke, the mistakes he could never undo. His reflection whispered again, you are not strong enough. Tomorrow you will fall, and no one will remember your name. Arham's chest tightened. He gripped his sword, pressing the edge against his palm until blood kissed steel. He wanted the pain to silence the whispers, but pain only made them louder. At dawn, the drums began, thunderous, unyielding, echoing across the valley. The enemy had arrived. The battlefield stretched wide, an ocean of steel and fire. Shields gleamed beneath the rising sun. Horses neighed and pawed at the ground. The air was thick with fear, prayers, and the metallic taste of destiny. Arham stood among his brothers in arms. His heart pounded like a second drum. Sweat slid down his brow. His hand trembled on the hilt of his sword, and then he remembered his father's words, spoken long ago. The greatest enemy you will ever face is the one inside your chest. Defeat him, and no army can touch you. For the first time, Arham understood. The horns blew. The earth shook. Two armies collided like thunder meeting the sea. Arrows cut through the sky like black rain. Blades clashed. Shields shattered. Cries filled the air. Men fell, their stories ending in silence. But Arham fought differently this day. Every swing of his sword was not just against flesh and bone, but against the whispers in his soul. With each strike, he shouted back, I am enough. I will not fail. I am still alive. The enemy struck his shield, but he held. His knees buckled, but he rose again. The ground beneath him turned red, yet he pressed forward. It was no longer a battle for survival. It was a battle for himself. Hours passed. The sun climbed high, then dipped low again, painting the field with gold and blood. By dusk, the battlefield was silent. The cries had faded. The storm of steel had ended. Bodies lay scattered like broken statues of a forgotten war. Aram stood among them, his armor broken, his body bleeding, but his heart, it was steady, strong, silent, victorious. For he had not only defeated the army before him, he had defeated the enemy within. That night, as the surviving soldiers gathered by firelight, they looked to Aram not just as a warrior, but as a leader. He did not speak of victory. He did not boast of his survival. Instead, he whispered to himself words that would guide him for the rest of his life. The world's greatest battles are not fought with swords, but with courage, patience, and faith within the human soul. So remember, when life feels like a battlefield, do not fear the enemies outside. Fear the ones inside, your doubts, your fears, your despair. Because once you conquer them, no army in the world can ever defeat you.